What is going on, YouTube? Chris here, ironcoregyms.com. Today we're going to go over everybody's favorite thing to do in the gym, bench press, and how to get a strong bench press. So in my time, I've held multiple world records from 15 years old all the way up to my last competition when I was 23 years old. These are raw numbers. Body weight was like 165 pounds. I think the most I ever competed at was 181, and a lot of those were with the shirted bench. So what that is there is I think I used a double denim bench shirt. I won't get into all of what that does and how it works, but that was the federation rules that I was in, and that's what I competed with at the time. So after competing all those years and stuff like that, I really got away from the bench shirts and kind of just worked on them in training a little bit. Now we utilize the slingshots and all those different implements there, and just another tool in the toolbox here. So going over basics here. So my biggest thing with benching is, from anybody to learn from day one, is to learn the proper technique. This is something where we go in the gym and we just start putting weight on, and we start getting stronger and we start getting stronger, and the foundation is not very strong. So yes, our bench is going up, but we're going to hit a wall it's a technique wall. It's going to be a strength wall, and it is going to be a wall where it is not fun to overcome, because now we have to go back and retrain the entire body to learn how to set up properly, how to press properly, and utilizing the correct muscles inside the lift. And I have dealt with this for many years, probably 20 and a half, 25 years, dealing with people coming in, and they've been lifting for 10-15 years and their bench is stuck. And the hardest part as a trainer is these guys have to go back down to bare minimum, basic, just working on the bar, working on 135, and just sticking with reps and slowly building back up. And you know as well as I do, it is very hard to overcome these, because our egos take a huge hit on this, because we were never taught from day one. So that is my biggest thing, is please learn how to do this correctly from day one. And man, you can build a nice strong house on a beautiful foundation there. But like I said, if you are not building that foundation strong, your butt's coming up 2 miles in there, you're putting on these elbow straps and slingshots and wrist straps and all this gear here to help you guys get your bench stronger, and the foundation's not set. You guys are setting yourself up for failure on this in the long run. So that is my biggest takeaway from that. Second thing I'm going to go over is the benching. How many days a week do I bench? I bench once a week. I bench on Saturday mornings. The other days during the week, it's all accessory work, do some strength training, and mostly just bodybuilding. Just building up the small muscle groups around the shoulders. We do a little bit of pec work on Saturday, but shoulders, upper back, traps, lats, just training them super duper strong. This isn't using 20 pounds and just feeling the muscle work. I'm talking using heavy weight, but understanding how to utilize the muscles correctly, and utilize the muscles correctly and what muscle groups are actually working. So obviously, if we're working on our back, utilizing the lats, the lower lats, and hitting it from different angles there. So when we are benching, we can feel those working. Once again, back to foundation. If you have a weak back, and I'm not talking we can sling down 200 pounds in the lat pull down machine with awful form. I'm talking good correct form on these, and building that nice and strong there, where now I can build off that platform that was just built, and now my bench can skyrocket from there. Another big component of the bench, other than the back, is tricep work. Heavy tricep work, working on the push downs, the rolling extensions, board work, tons of board work, the upper end part of the bench. This goes a long way, because if we're not doing this stuff in our bench, once again, we are only going to get so strong here. At the end of the day, who wants to have weak arms? We want to have strong arms and, utilizing everything we can with the upper body. Another big component, shoulders. This is probably one of the biggest things for benching because there is so much involved up in that shoulder girdle on both sides, front, back, side, all the tie-ins, the bicep, the pecs, the shoulders, the traps, lats. There's so much going on up there, so making sure those muscles are actually recruiting and working correctly. So, rear delt exercises, working that correct muscle. For example, my traps are super duper strong, so I have to really focus on when I'm doing these exercises here to hit that mind muscle connection to work on that correct muscle that I want to work. If I sit there and just sling weight around all the time, my traps are going to take over. Traps are going to be super strong, they're going to be super dominant, and then those other muscles are going to be lagging, and then eventually you're going to have problems with those there. So shoulders are very important also. Not a big fan of military pressing. Really never done military pressing much in my career. Like I said, I've probably hit 405 raw on the bench 10-15 times in since I was 23, so 17 years. Most being 435 back in April of this year. So trying to find what works for you, and obviously this stuff's all my opinion. This is stuff that's worked for me. We probably had a cycle we ran we started in July. Raw bench was, probably like 365 at the time. I was coming off some shoulder issues. Hit 385 in September, and we added in dumbbell work, heavy dumbbell work. So we did week 1, we worked up heavy sets of 12. Week 2, we did heavy sets of 10. Week 3, 8s. Week 4, 6s. As we did this is not just lay down and go. It's a group of guys. You go, I go, he goes, and we just keep rotating through that. We're all getting stronger. We're all pushing each other to be as strong as possible. Week 5, we did this back to incline dumbbells. Last week we maxed out bench 405. So within a little over 2 months there, put 20 pounds on my bench press. My one training partner, Brett, he went from 365 to 385. Another training partner, Kyle, went from 275, 280 to he did 295 last week. So, implementing this style of training here goes a long way, guys. Hitting the dumbbells correctly, where to put them in the workout. We're not just going heavy bench, heavy dumbbells, heavy incline, heavy pec flies, heavy Smith machine. It's putting them in your repertoire and how to set them up correctly, so it's not just putting everything in there going heavy, heavy, heavy all the time. Obviously, we got to build some muscle there going heavy, but we also got to build up those ligaments and tendons in there as well, which are very important. And sometimes when we go super duper heavy, we're recruiting a lot more muscle groups there. We do not want to do that in these instances here. So it's very important to have that mind muscle connection and know exactly what we're working on. What's the goal we have in front of us. So guys, got any question on that, please feel free to reach out, let me know. You guys can follow us on social media, Iron Core Gyms, Iron Core Athlete, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we got it. Help you guys out 110%. Let's go get it done.